good time to chat with like 2 albums coming out within almost a month.
Yeah, in the same month. So silly.
How's it? I guess like how's the last month been? Like leading up to obviously the Loose Lips album came out like 2 days ago or so.
Yeah.
And then the Prize album coming out later September.
Yeah.
Do you want to just start there?
Yeah. Well, we recorded the Prize album sort of over a year period. I think we went on tour with King Gizzard in 2023, and we started recording it before that tour, and then went on tour and came back and we're just finishing it off basically. So that dragged out for quite a while, and then once it's got to go into production and get labels involved, it adds more time to a release. And then this seemed like a good time, and then Loose Lips, we recorded the album a couple of months ago, and we're just doing everything ourselves, put this one out ourselves in Australia. It's on Dig in America, but we've had the sort of attitude of just like get everything out, do everything as quickly and DIY as possible, and don't sit on it for too long. And then somehow they both landed on the same month. Which I won't do again, but as I was saying to you before, it's the first time I've ever put out an LP, and to do in two in 1 month is kind of funny.
Because you've had like a period of like, it's been pretty quiet maybe, like music wise, in terms of releases. I don't know.
Yeah, releases like we were playing a lot of shows, and then that always kind of slows down recording and writing and releasing. So yeah, but next year I think I want to focus more on recording and writing rather than playing as much, I think.
Yeah. And how do you balance like sort of recording and like touring? And then obviously if you want to talk about, like you mentioned, we're talking a bit about like your work and being a makeup artist and hairstylist, and you've done that for like some pretty big artists too. Like I read it for like Ringo and like Nick Cave and like all these, like all that stuff. How's like the day-to-day now, especially this month, of like balancing your like work shit with two releases, like touring, all that shit? Well,
I guess I'm lucky because I run my own business, so I can sort of pick and choose when I'm working and when I'm taking time off for band stuff, so it works well in that way. But at the same time it's difficult because when I am taking time off work to do music stuff or go on tour, I'm not earning money, and then got to sort of work harder when I get home from tour, and then music's got to take a back burner. But I don't know, it'll work somehow. But I've been lucky. I've worked with some big artists doing in the hair and makeup world, and I was telling a story last night. I cut Nick Cave's hair once, and it's kind of a long-winded story, but I got a call and I got asked if I could come and give Nick Cave a haircut, and I was like, sure. And then I got to the hotel and I was sitting in the lobby, and his personal assistant called, and she was like, he's changed his mind and he doesn't want to get his hair cut anymore. And I was like, okay, well, I'm already here. Does anyone else in the band want a trim or whatever just while I'm here? And she was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. And she called me back a few minutes later and was like, oh, George, the guitarist, he's interested in getting a trim. So I went up to George's room and gave him a haircut, and he had like the Paul Weller kind of 60s Kinks thing and a haircut. And we just got along really well and went down to the lobby and had a beer, and he was like, you coming to the show tomorrow night? And I was like, oh no, I'm playing at Sydney Myer Music Bowl. And I was like, I don't have a ticket. And he's like, oh, I'll chuck you on the door. And I was like, oh, that'd be great. And then so I got there the next night, and he'd given me a backstage pass for after the show. And so after they played, I was talking to George backstage, and Nick walked past, and George was like, oh, Nick, this is Nadine. She was supposed to give you a haircut yesterday and you cancelled on her. Best haircut I've ever had. And Nick's like, oh, really? What are you doing tomorrow? And I was like, nothing. He's like, can you come to the venue tomorrow and give me a haircut before the show? And I was like, yeah, sure. And then George and I went out that night and got wasted, and I got home at like 4 or 5 a.m. Amazing. And then I had to get up at 9 and go back to the venue to give Nick a haircut, and I was maybe still drunk.
That's crazy.
That's
such a good story.
I was sitting I was sitting, like, there's these massive stairs when you come through the back of the venue and sort of go down, and I was sitting at the bottom of the stairs and I heard the band like pull up and Nick go, "Where's Nadine?" And then the whole band started singing, "Nadine, honey, is that you?" while they're walking down the stairs. I was like, this is crazy.
That's amazing.
And then he got to the bottom of the stairs and he grabbed me by the arm and pulled me into a room and like slammed the door shut and turned to me and pointed, and I was like, "Don't fuck it up." And he's like, "Exactly." I was like, "Oh God." I was so hungover. I was like, "Oh shit." I think I cut like 2 millimeters off his hair.
Yeah. I mean, Nick, out of anyone I could think of, is like the most intense. Giving a haircut to someone. I mean, like.
Well, his hair is like, it's an identity thing too.
Exactly.
Is, you know, I understand why he's like particular about it, and I didn't want to be the person to fuck it up.
Yeah.
But I sabotaged myself by going out the night before. Yeah. But it was fine. He was happy with his haircut, and we shared a juice afterwards. So. That's
incredible. Did you do him again at all, or was it like
no? I haven't really played here since then. Actually, I don't think. Yeah. Oh, he's done some solo stuff, but no, I haven't. Yeah. But hopefully next time Bad Seeds are in town.
Yeah. I think they're coming back and
actually,
like next year or something. So maybe you can
maybe
give Warren or something a beer trim. Yeah.
Just shave it off.
Yeah. Amazing. That's incredible. Yeah, Nick's sister was actually my teacher in primary school.
Oh, really?
And like in Elstonwick, I remember you'd just see Nick like, because his family's from like, sister lives there and stuff. You just see him at Coles like in a whole suit.
Yeah,
like,
he's always so dapper.
In like Elstonwick, it was like just being intimidated as fuck. But how'd you even like get into hairstyling and makeup and stuff? Was that something always like?
I feel like everything I've ever done in my life has just been an accident and luck and weird timing. It was just kind of, I don't know. I just say yes to everything. Things that I'm like, I don't know how to do this, but I'll just fudge my way through it, and it's always kind of seemed to work out okay most of the time. But I started training as a hairdresser while I was still in VCE, and then I moved to Melbourne and I got a job in a barber shop, and then I met a director one night at the Tote who was like, "Oh, do you do makeup as well?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "You should do makeup and then you can get work in film and TV and stuff." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then so I just did a short course, and then next minute I was like doing One Direction and Ringo Starr and like Harry Styles when he went solo and all sorts of big names, and I was kind of like, how did I get here? But I don't know.
Do you feel like you've always been like, like a good trait of just saying yes to everything? Like going into it and like figuring it out as you go? Yeah,
I think a lot of doors open when you say yes and just try new things, and what's the worst that can happen is you give Nick Cave a bad haircut.
Amazing. So that's how that sort of started. And did you feel, and I feel like it's a pretty like, I don't know if it's a niche thing, but like I feel like if you're like the only one sort of doing it within your friend groups or music groups, like you're going to be the one they're going to go to.
Yeah,
for like
definitely.
a music video or something, I'm sure. Like,
well, that's kind of how it started. I was just doing music, you know, bands that had no budget, like, can we give you $100 to and then even doing that, I was doing the hair and makeup, but they were like, "Oh, should we wear this or this?" And I was like, "That." And then all of a sudden people were like, "Oh, you're a stylist too." And I was like, "Not really, but okay." So then I actually got into styling for a while and worked in film, doing costume and
oh really?
Yeah.
Film too, like proper film sets and shit.
Yeah, I did a few American TV shows and stuff that was shot in Australia. I can't even remember the names of them now, but I did, you know, like ABC series and stuff like that as well.
Was it weird reading, like, obviously, and I know like your dad was in the Cosmic Psychos, which you've mentioned and talked about a bit, but like obviously music was a big part of your life for so long. Like, it was a weird meeting through like this different medium, through this like different medium art or whatever, like meeting your idols and shit, because I'm sure like you're a big Beatles fan and Nick Cave fan, and then meeting them for like what was that like?
I think the only time I don't really get starstruck, and honestly most of the people that I really idolize are not alive anymore. But Ringo Starr, that was like, I had no words, and I was like, I have like blackout moments in the conversation where I can't actually remember the whole interaction because my brain was like, "You're talking to a Beatle right now. You're talking to a Beatle right now." And but that was really special. I was like texting Dad like, "Dad, working with Ringo Starr," and he was lovely. He was actually, that was a funny one. I was doing costume for them, but it was Ringo Starr's all-star band, and so it was Todd Rundgren, Steve Lukather from Toto, I can't even remember who else was in the band now, but I was doing their wardrobe, and then Steve Lukather came in and saw that I had my hair and makeup kit there just in case, and he's like, oh, can you give me a haircut? And so I started giving him a haircut, and he was telling me these crazy stories about he apparently wrote the guitar part for Michael Jackson's Thriller, and he married Sherry Curry from the Runaways' twin sister, and was telling me all these stories about Joan Jett and stuff. And then it was 2 nights, and I hadn't actually met or seen Ringo on the first night. It's very like strict backstage. As you know, most gigs you go to, there's random people everywhere backstage, and everyone's drinking, and it's a bit of a party. But at the Ringo shows, it was like no one backstage, no alcohol, very, you know, they were pretty strict about it, fair enough. So I didn't actually think I'd get to meet him, because I think he's kind of probably done with meeting random people. But his personal assistant came into the room, and I was doing something, and he saw that I had a drum tattoo on my arm, and he's like, oh, do you play drums? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh, you should show Ringo. And I was like, okay. And he's like, come with me, and took me into this room, and I could hear Ringo talking behind me, and it's like Thomas the Tank Engine. I turned around, and his assistant was like, hey Ringo, this is Nadine, show Ringo your tattoo. And I was like, and he's like, oh, do you regret it? And I was like, not yet, I've only had it for a few years. And my dad and I got matching tattoos, and you know, when I turned 18, and then he pulled up his sleeve and started showing me tattoos that he got, and I didn't even know that Ringo had tattoos. Like, I couldn't picture a tattoo on Ringo Starr. And he showed me he's got this like volcano on his arm, and he was saying that he got it in like 1965 or something, and the guy that was giving it to him was on the nod, like on heroin, and so it was supposed to be a volcano erupting, but he never got to the erupting part, so it's just a volcano.
That's so good.
And it was all like, you know, jail tat, kind of blue and bleeding, and I was like, wow, I had no idea that any of the Beatles had tattoos.
That's crazy. So it's landed you in some pretty wild position, like, for that.
Yeah,
especially
some real pinch me moments.
Yeah. That's wild. And is it still like that now, or is it sort of?
Every now and again, mostly I work in sort of fashion and do a lot of beauty work now. So I still work with. I worked with Celeste Barber the other day, who's a comedian, and you know, she's great and very influential, and so that was a fun one. But yeah, I mean, they pop up occasionally, but I don't think I'll ever get another Ringo moment.
That's wild.
That's a once in a lifetime.
Crazy. And do you think that like DIY sort of mentality, you could say, is like comes out in like obviously like the bands that you're in and stuff like that, like just saying yes to things? And I don't know what it was like stepping into doing drums and like doing vocals and drums, and I don't know, everything else that you've done.
Yeah, definitely. I think I never took anything too seriously. I was just like, I'm just playing drums because there's a drum kit in the house and it's fun. And then when I started a band, I never thought we'd play anywhere other than like the Tote, or maybe go to Sydney once a year and stuff like that. And then, opportunities started to open up. And the Prize was the first time I'd ever played drums and sang at the same time. And when we started the band, no one was that keen on doing lead vocals, and I was like absolutely petrified of singing in front of people. Like, it was my biggest fear.
Really?
Yeah.
So you'd never really...
I'd done backing vocals before, but you can hide behind someone else's vocals in that sense. But when you're holding like lead vocals, I find it really vulnerable, because it's like, it's not an instrument, it's like coming out of your body, so it's like you know. Yeah. And it always scared the shit out of me. So I was like, all right, this scares you, so now you got to do it. And then when we started the band, I was just like, it's like tapping your head and rubbing your tummy at the same time. Just keep doing it, and eventually it clicks.
Yeah, but it must be exhausting as hell too. Like, I remember I was saying I've seen you play once now. It was a while ago, but at the Pelly Bubba, just being at like doing vocals for like a sort of punk band, which is pretty energetic, and then like you're going ham on the drums too. Is it like being able to like, I don't know. Yeah, it seems.
It is physical, and I'm starting to kind of unlearn bad habits now. Sort of like, because I was essentially self-taught with both. My dad showed me a few things with drumming, but I never had drumming lessons. I was never like regimented, which I wish I had worked a bit harder on it. But anyway, but yeah, when I started, I just was like, this is how I know how to do it. Like, hit the hi-hat as hard as possible, because, you know, you got to work for it.
Yeah.
And then now I'm learning you don't have to smash the hi-hats. There's 3 guitars in the band. No one's hearing every little beat, and just trying to have a bit more finesse with it, and I don't know, like, make it easier on myself. Like, I still want to play hard and play with energy, but not burning myself out, because for a long time I was just like halfway through the set I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna get through the rest of this. But now I'm sort of working on breathing and being more conscious of, you know, when I'm smashing it and when I'm pulling back a bit to keep it sort of steady through the set.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, because I think, like, if you're a front man for a band, normally, like, you can sort of pace up and down, or like go into the crowd, or do you find it hard being like you have to sit? Like, I'm just thinking this now. Do you know what I mean? Like,
kind of,
like,
yeah.
You know,
and
like,
particularly because and at some shows I'm sort of tucked up the back, because that's just where the drums go, and if I can't see the audience and feel like I'm connecting with people, I feel like I have to work harder on the drums. But it's just like a psychological thing, I guess. But we try and put the drums a bit more up the front when we can, just so I can feel a bit more of a connection with the crowd. But Tom and I, my partner, started a Ramones cover band recently with Eamon and Josh from the Chats, and also from the Unknowns, and it was the first time I'd ever just done, I was Joey, time I'd ever just done lead vocals, and that was another thing that scared me, like, being behind the drums and singing is like a bit of an armor, like I feel a bit sort of protected there or something, and because I don't have to focus just on that, then I'm not overthinking the singing or whatever. Whereas just singing, it's like you can't hide behind anything. And also just being able to, I don't know, hold yourself on stage, and that whole thing was another thing that kind of freaked me out. So I was like, all right, I'm doing this too, and I had so much fun doing that now. So
you really just throw yourself out at, like, whatever.
Yeah,
like the fear thing. So you don't like fear for you is just like fucking like go.
I just want to overcome it. Yeah. Because I mean, once you get to the other side of that, then you've learnt something new, and you feel a bit stronger, and then find something else to work through, I guess. Yeah,
and it's never as bad as like your mind makes it out to be.
Absolutely.
And then you're like doing that shit. Yeah, that's sick. Yeah, I just the first time I think you were like probably the first band that I saw where like the lead vocalist was the drummer also.
Oh, really?
That was pretty, at the time, you know. I actually saw, I don't know, have you seen the OCs? They've got
the 2 drummers?
Yeah, the 2 drummers. That was pretty cool too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
They were pretty dope. And what about like obviously your dad and being in the Cosmic Psychos, and your mum, I think you said, was it like tour managing or something?
Yeah.
But just being in like a household that was like into, you know, these different subcultures and music scenes and shit like that. What was it like growing up amongst that? And were you just like thrown into the drum kit? Because like I could imagine like most parents wouldn't want their kid playing drums. Like it's probably the one instrument like with how, but obviously.
Well,
dad,
I guess, you know, I probably took it for granted at the time that they were so supportive of everything I did, and you know, in some ways I envied some of my friends because I had nothing to rebel against. Mum and dad just like here's a drum kit, you want to play guitar, like we'll get you lessons, and they were always so supportive of everything I did. And I think you know, seeing dad play in a band that was successful but also hold down a day job, and he runs his own business as a screen printer, so I think they also taught me that you need a plan B, and to have something that you can balance music out with that you're equally passionate about, or that, you know, you enjoy. So they definitely taught me that. And mum having insight into how the industry works, and booking agents and PR and all the things that I wouldn't have known if it wasn't for them, you know, just being around when I started.
And were you always in bands and stuff growing up? Like, what was the sort of like teenage years and, I don't know, school? Because you grew up, was it
Bendigo?
Bendigo, yeah. What was
that? If
you want to talk about that a bit.
Yeah. I started playing in my first band like year 8, and that was called the Barbettes, more 3-piece. We just did predominantly Ramones covers, I think, beside the school canteen at lunchtime. But yeah, from a really young age, I think just even that first, I still remember the first time I performed in front of people, and that feeling you get when you're performing is like something you don't really get from much else in life. I think it's like it's adrenaline, and I don't know, trying to entertain people. Like I'm actually quite introverted, I think, but then when I'm on stage and I'm performing, all that goes away. It's kind of, I think I realized in that moment as a young kid that it's a side of my personality or side of myself that I need to let out every now and again, because most of the time I'm sort of feel a bit shy and awkward.
Yeah, that's great. But then you're in this like insane punk bands and shit like that. Yeah, wow. So you're always just playing around in bands or whatever. Yeah, I just kind of started young, and then I stopped for when I moved to Melbourne, started doing the makeup work and stuff, and I lived in an apartment, and I wasn't in any active bands, and then work just sort of took over for a few years. And honestly, like I don't even it was like probably 4 or 5 year period, and I feel like I don't remember that time because there wasn't anything that special that happened that I can whereas when I started playing music again, it was like we did that gig and we went there and we released that, and it's it sort of gave me my identity back a bit. Breaks the circuit a bit, I think, too. Having something else apart from work. Yeah. Like, do you find it like that? Because when you, not that everyone has to have like some insane like outlet, but I think it's pretty important, like especially not to get like caught up in work and like not having, you know what I mean? Where even just doing this, I find like it just opens up so much, and you go to places you wouldn't, or if it's been in a band or whatever it is, like that it's not, but like balancing the work's fine, but to have that other sort of thing. Yeah, it's I mean, it's really important for me and my like mental health, and just how I don't know, it gives me energy. It gives me more energy to do other things, and it keeps just being creative and having an outlet. Like I really need it, and I'll do it forever. And I don't think I would tour. I don't think I could be in a full-time touring band. Like we've done 5 or 6 weeks here and there, and I'm like 3 weeks I think is my limit. How are those like long? So you're just like back? Is it just like? Yeah, I think you did Europe or America. Where was it? We've done 2 Europe and UK, and it's usually like, I think the last one was 28 shows in 33 days or something like that, and the one before was 35 or 6 shows in whatever, 2 or 3 days off amongst in that time. And I'm not cut out for it. I mean, maybe I just need to, I don't know, pace myself more, because you sort of, if you party one night and then you're hungover the next day, then the only other option is to party again to feel better. And then you just get into a cycle of kind of drinking every day and then just feeling really burnt out by the end of it. And I mean, it's really hard not to do it. And that's like one of the one of the bad things about the music industry, I think, is like, it's like, let's, put people on the road for extended period of time, and then essentially part of their pay is a bottle of spirits and a slab and whatever, you know what I mean? And that's put in front of you every day. And most of the time it's boring. Like, it's so boring. You're sitting in a van for 8 hours and you're tired, and then you get to the venue and you do sound check, and then you wait around for another 4 hours before you play, and it's like and then you get 40 minutes or however long your set is of adrenaline, and you're all like pumped up after that, but then you're supposed to just go to sleep, but you can't because you're full of adrenaline, so then you have a few drinks. It's like to calm down the high. It's like the ebbs and flows of like... Yeah, and so it's a really kind of unnatural lifestyle, and I think if for people that have figured out a healthy way to do it, it's awesome, but it's really hard to do that. I don't know, like how you... so... I mean... But I forget, though, that the part of, like, what you said of being gifted just, like, a case of beers or, like, on tap at, like, every venue or whatever. Yeah, like, and then you've got people that... label people or like fans or whatever that come to the show that want to hang out, and they've never met you before, and so you feel like you need to hang out with everyone, and you want to, but it's just like, then it's every day, and for bands that are on tour for, like...
a year or half of the year and stuff like that. It's just not sustainable. And yeah, I don't know, but it is also really fun.
Yeah. No, I know, it's like that whole
I sound like I'm whinging about it.
No. But you think of like the different scenes. It's funny how like some, you know, obviously like punk or like garage rock or whatever, like maybe there's more inclination to drink, but then you think of like maybe like the hardcore scene or like the straight edge. That's like a whole other of like drinking not being like the forefront of it or whatever. Yeah. Did you ever have periods of like not drinking or
no?
Have you like? I just want
well, she sips some mimosa.
Well, like is it always just curious, especially with, I mean, more so with like what you're talking about, like the music side of it and being it's like pretty prominent. Going to gigs and that sort of thing is, I guess it's just, you've sort of just...
It's just part of the culture. And I was, you know, it's like, and also being in Australia, it's how we're all kind of raised as like, go to the gig and have a few beers, you know, it's like, and I don't know. And also I think because I do get anxious and I always get a bit nervous before I play. Like I never drink before I play excessively. I'll have like 1 or 2 beers or whatever. But yeah, I know, like just stuff to calm your nerves and then afterwards to celebrate. And I don't know, it's just really hard to get out of that mindset. But yeah, maybe, well, I think we'll go next year and I'll give it a crack.
Yeah, no, I was just curious on that. But yeah, if you're playing like 28 shows in a month, like fuck, there's not many ways of like, it must be tough as fuck. Yeah, how do you find like the like recording aspect compared to like touring and that sort of thing? Like, do you like the touring aspect, even just overseas locally and doing shows for the upcoming?
Oh, we did a tour with the Chats. It was like a bargain bin tour at the start of last year, and that was one of the funnest tours I've ever done. I reckon that was just around Australia and up the coast, and it was the middle of summer, and we were playing like Byron Bay and all these beach towns, and over 2 weeks. And yeah, I loved that because it wasn't sitting in a van in the middle of winter in Germany for 10 hours. And I mean, I feel like I sound so ungrateful, but I do like touring. It's just a lot more taxing than I thought it was going to be. And
like physically too, I'm especially
like you come home and your body's all twisted because you've been sleeping on shitty mattresses and in a van for 90% of the time. And it's a weird one. How'd you find the like reception in Europe and stuff, especially with the prize? And it was good. I think we did the first one we did was with King Gizzard, and I was like, their fans are gonna hate us because it's pretty different music, but no, it actually went down quite well. And then with the Chats, I thought that was probably, you know, the music was a bit more aligned, so we got a good response from their fans, which was cool. And I think next year when we go back, we'll do our first headline tour and do kind of more dive bars and smaller shows. Because both times we've been over there, we've been doing like 2,000 cap rooms and stuff. So it'd be good to go the other way and do it a bit more like a bit raw.
And how was recording specifically with the Prizes album that's coming out like this month compared to like that EP you guys put out in like 2022? Because I know that period was like COVID, and I even remember going to like even the gig when I saw you guys, I think that was like just maybe a bit after like the whole lockdown thing, but just like recording, because I know you said, I think I read like you guys would record like separate bits, so you guys weren't like in the same room or whatever, just over that COVID period or something. When we were writing, we were just, because I was living with in a share house with our bass player, and we'd kind of come up with a few bits and then send them to the others, and then that's how we started writing, because we weren't able to all get in the same room for however long it was, 2 years or something. But yeah, with the first EP, we recorded it at Gizzard Studio with Matt Blatch from Murlocs and Beans, and we just recorded 4 songs in, I think it was maybe like 8 hours or something, 8 or 9 hours. I think we finished at 2 a.m. The 7-inch was done. We just smashed it out, and then we were really, we didn't overthink it, and was just like played the songs as we do live. And then we just put it out on Anti-Fade a couple of months later, probably, from when we recorded it. And I don't think any of us expected it to do as well as it did. And, we're getting offers for booking agents from overseas
really quickly, and management and stuff were reaching out, so we were all a bit kind of like, didn't expect that. And then I think because of that, that's when we got into playing a lot, and then not putting aside time to write and record, because it just sort of snowballed with like show offers and tour offers.
That momentum.
Yeah, exactly. But then it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because you take that momentum, but then it starts dying down because you haven't put out anything else, and then it's like, where's the album? It's like, we didn't have time to do an album because we were on tour. But so that was like, there was a naivety to that one that I know we'll never have again. We didn't overthink it, weren't thinking about how it would be perceived or if it's whatever. Just it was. Do you think
there's like a beauty to that, like that? Of
Absolutely.
Like when you don't know. When something's
I miss
so like
that
raw.
feeling,
Like now you have like, how do you sort of deal with like the expectations and stuff of like another, like, is it going to be as like the?
Well, I actually really struggled with it a bit. I mean, I struggled with songwriting after that, because I'd never really written written lyrics before the prize before, and so then I was like, oh no, what if the next ones I do are not as good? And then you start to question it, and then when you overthink stuff like that, people can see through it straight away. Like if it's not authentic and it's too thought out, I feel like it's not honest and it's not as real. And then honestly, like starting Loose Lips with Josh and seeing how he writes songs, does not give a shit, just like, we'll have it down, here's the finished song in 5 minutes sort of thing. And I'm like, I don't need to sweat over these lyrics that really no one gives a shit about anyway. It's silly punk songs. Like it's nothing deep. I'm not Bob Dylan. So then writing with him sort of gave me the confidence with the prize stuff to just sort of be like, doesn't matter, write whatever experience you just had as it comes out in your head, and don't overthink it.
So is that how it sort of comes to you?
Yeah, I wrote the rest, like I wrote the majority of the lyrics
for this
the prize one that's coming out, like in the studio the day I was recording them. I was just kind of like smash them out. So I always have a melody, but melodies come to me really quickly and kind of easily most of the time, but lyrics I agonize over a bit. Because that's the one thing that obviously I think the prize specifically, like the hooks and choruses are so like catchy and fun, and like know what I mean, like that I can tell that it makes sense that's like the that's the easiest part.
Is it? Do you find it?
So that melodies just kind of come out of nowhere for me, but but I think I'm working on getting, it's just with lyrics, I think it's just writing all the time, trying to write little poems, or just if you hear something that sounds cool, just write it down. I'll put it in my notes and then sort of compile things later.
Do you find you like more observant and stuff of everything, like externally, of like places you go, whatever, or something that happens that could like come out in like a song, you know what I mean? As opposed
definitely.
To not having that thing, for like to be able to like transfer what you saw to like a
most of the time, like 99% of the time, songs I've written are from an actual experience I've had. I think there's only been a couple where I've kind of made up scenarios in my head, but most of the time it, like, if I can put myself back in that place or whatever, it comes out a lot easier.
Yeah, that's dope. And like obviously this album too is like how many tracks is it? I think I saw it on Bandcamp. It's like 10 or 12. Is it fair?
10.
Yeah, 10. Yeah. So that's obviously a lot more than like the 4, the EP. Like how did you guys know what, like when it was, like when did it feel? I was just like curious on like when a band or artist is like knows when it's done and ready to put out, or when to like put the pause on it. Like is there ever like a it feels, like, I
don't know, I felt like with that one I wanted to just keep tweaking it, but I think you just get to a point where it's like, I don't know, just got to step away at some point. And I wanted to keep it as raw and real and sound like how we do live. So I think we captured that. I think it sounds like the live set, but maybe a little more polished.
No, that's sick. And then obviously the loose lips sort of stuff, is that similar? I mean, does that feel a bit more because it's like a newer thing.
Yeah,
like
that's definitely way looser.
Yeah,
it's like we just went to my parents' house in Bendigo. Josh brought his 8-track. We did the 7-inch on his 8-track, and that was the first time he'd ever used it or ever recorded anything himself. And it sounds pretty rough, but the second one, I think he really figured out how to work it. I mean, I think the first one's cool, but the second one sounds a bit... the quality's better and there's less hissing in the background. So wait, what am I talking about?
No, it's just something I can't remember. I think like the Loose Lips album.
Oh yeah, I think we went to mum and dad's house and just like smashed it out in 2 days kind of thing, and then just did vocals here one day and just don't overthink anything. It's like,
is that what you'd say to most people like getting into, I guess, like what, like, or I could ask like what sort of punk and DIY sort of means to you? Is it just like that, not overthinking and not caring too much, not like obviously you care to a certain extent, but not letting like those external sort of pressures take over and just like let it, because I feel like a lot of people don't start things maybe because of that sort of external, like thinking like, oh, it's not good enough or that sort of thing. I mean, I have a lot of friends that have written like phenomenal albums that they've never put out because they're just too critical of themselves and just keep overanalyzing it and tweaking it and starting again or whatever. And it's such a shame because, like, I don't know, I never want to get too in my head about that stuff. It's like, I think I know when something's good enough, you know, and then it's like, that's how we sound and that's what it is, and that's a good representation of the band. So is that just like an intrinsic feeling or whatever? Like,
I think so. I think, I don't know, being confident in what you do is important, but just trusting your instincts and trying to not overthink and overcomplicate things.
Do you think that's easier being like in a band as opposed to like a solo artist or whatever, like having other people, like you're obviously other bandmates and stuff?
I think I definitely work better with other people, bouncing ideas off each other, or being like, that could be better, and being able to be honest and give each other like constructive criticism and not get offended, and actually help each other make the song as good as it possibly can be, and I have that relationship with Josh, and I also have it with Kerry, who I write most of the songs with in the Prize. So it's a good dynamic. I don't know, I'd like the idea that I could do a solo thing, but
I was going to ask, have you thought of like, has it ever?
No, I think I just prefer working with other people. It's more fun for me.
And do you feel like you bring like a different Nadine to like the Loose Lips compared to the Prize? Like, is it like when you're playing or recording or stepping into either of those bands, is it like a different, do you feel like
I think they are different parts of my personality that I try and sort of push a bit harder. I don't know, and I think with the Loose Lips thing, it's just a bit more carefree, and it's just a bit more loose is the only word I can think of, and the Prize is a bit more refined, I guess, and a bit more considered. And I don't know if that's better or worse, but that's and like the influences that started, sort of both still the same for you. Like, I know you've talked about like the Toms and like the Ramones and like are they like always been like, are you always listening to like different Aussie bands, like different genres? Like, what's the sort of like listening and influential sort of thing? I go through phases, like and I think when I am really obsessed with a particular song or band, that comes out in my songwriting a bit. Like, I definitely was listening to heaps of the Divinals when we did the Prize album, and I think that I read a review the other day that said that they could hear some Divinals influence in it, and I was like, well, that's cool, because that's true. And Loose Lips, Josh is just sending me random like 60s bands all the time, and so we're a bit more influenced by like the Shangri-Las and the Ronettes, and I kind of lean into that
Yeah.
60s sort of girl group stuff a bit more.
Yeah,
With that, yeah.
Yeah, I was just wondering because I know you, and like I was actually listening to like Thin Lizzy. I'd never gone into their stuff before, but I was reading up on like some of the interviews, and it just came up a bit.
Yeah.
And like just listening, it's cool to hear like the influences and stuff like that.
Yeah, everyone in the band is, all the boys in particular, are big Thin Lizzy fans, and I think that it definitely comes through with the twin lead guitar stuff.
Yeah. Do you think that's like a natural thing too, of like you have your influences and you try to bring that out, and then like to start with, like I even think when I started this, as things that you reference and you're like, I really want it to be this, and then it ends up just becoming something else. Is that sort of how?
Yeah,
like
I
you're
think
like,
so.
I want to be like the next Ramones or whatever, and then it like naturally over time it just like becomes who you are in the band. Like, how do you sort of
Definitely. I think like most bands, if you listen to their really early stuff or the first record or obscure thing they ever put out, it always sounds a lot like something, and then they find their feet and they find their own sound, and it grows. And I think also you're never going to sound exactly like something you're inspired by, so I don't think there's any problem with wearing your influences on your sleeve kind of thing. But
because you seem pretty open with, like, I feel like maybe some other you see it with like some other bands or whatever, like maybe they're more gatekeepy or like they don't talk about it, but you're obviously like talk a lot about like who you're influenced by and what you listen to and like all that stuff. Yeah,
well, I mean, I wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't for those bands, really. It was a lot of those bands that inspired me to like Joan Jett or whatever, women in bands that gave me the confidence to be a female and play music. So I feel like you've got to pay homage where it's due.
I mean, you touched on it just then a bit, but like being a female in like a predominantly, I don't know, now it's probably a bit different, but like
it's definitely a lot better. When I first started, it was,
what was it like?
It was pretty, I had some pretty shit moments, to be honest. Like well, there was a lot more misogyny, and I'm glad that it's changing a lot and women are feeling more confident to stand up for themselves, because I think at the time I was like 16 when I first started, and I didn't have the confidence to really stand up for myself, and that was probably an age thing too, but it wouldn't slide now.
So it was always at the start, it was a bit of like and then you sort of just
well, I've found my voice and my confidence, and I think just the sense of community now with other females and in bands, and it's come a long way, but we have a lot further to go with it, I think.
For sure, because I know you're good friends with Amy, obviously, it seems, and what she's doing is like incredible too. Like,
it's amazing
to see, just for like females, like for anyone really, but just especially for females to be able to see that and like
be like, I can do that too. And that's like a huge part of it, is like if you see it, you know you can do it. So like people like Amy being like a global face now, it's awesome. It's doing a lot for women everywhere.
Do. And do you draw from like influences from anything else apart from music? Like is there stuff that you get into that maybe like, I don't know, like films or like other things that like
actually
that you see like come out, I don't know, and some maybe it's cover art or like a music video or like anything like that?
I get weird. Like the other day I sang like a guitar harmony bit to the boys and was like, oh, what about this in there? And they're like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. And I was like, you want to know where I stole that from? The theme song from the Never Ending Story.
Oh, really? That's
and they're
amazing.
like, okay. But I get, just like I'll hear something little in a thing and then I'll draw from that and then, change it in a way. But it comes from anything. Yeah.
So you're always just like taking in whatever.
And visual stuff as well, like for artwork or t-shirts or like, anything visual we do, like comes from random places
that you've like drawn it from. And do you find it weird being like the way like bands have to like promote themselves now? It comes up a bit just since I've been talking to people on here too, like obviously with like social media and like having to like have an image, or like, how do you guys, with the Loose Lips or the Prize, like, or how have you sort of like maneuvered through the whole thing, as opposed to what it was maybe, you know, 10, 15, 20 years ago when bands were coming through?
Well, I think I guess the scenes we're in, there's not as much pressure to, you know, if we were with a major label or something like that, there'd be people coming in telling us what to wear and, you know, giving us new clothes and things like that. And I know that no one in any of my bands would be cool with that. They would hate it. And I think we've all stuck to, I've been wearing the same stuff since I was like 18, I reckon. I still have the same leather jacket, and I don't really follow trends or anything. I've just always worn whatever random thing I find in an op shop that I think's cool. And I think with the Loose Lip stuff, it's probably a little bit more like how we dress and stuff is a little bit more thought out, in the sense that we, you know, are going for some kind of like kitschy 60s thing. Like I always wear something pink or whatever. I don't know why I just started doing that, and then it just seemed like fun, and visually it kind of works. But yeah, I mean, I try not to overthink anything. It's more just like
I love that. I love that it's like that for you. Obviously, it's just like feel. It's always been like that.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty important.
Yeah, I think so.
I think people can get so like overwhelmed by like how much is out there, and like, you know, with like so many people doing it, and you like look online, like you can get overwhelmed by like, and not even begin, because like people are already like 20 steps ahead, but you're just seeing like the final product of it, you know? Yeah,
totally. I think just being true to yourself is the only and best thing you can do. Is like, don't try and compete with anyone else, because it'll never work. Just keep chugging away. And I mean, I guess I'm not particularly ambitious, and I don't really care. Like I'm not trying to be famous or write the best album in the world or anything like that. I'm just like trying to create things for myself more than anything else, and if other people like it, then that's awesome.
Is that what success is to you? Like, if you were to define it for yourself?
I've actually been having this conversation with a lot of people lately, and what success is. And I think that I feel like, you know, with what we're talking about before with my job, I've met a lot of successful people, and I feel like in that sense, like being rich and famous probably looks like success, but sometimes they've been the most unhappy people I've come across. And I think that really it's like the climb to where you want to go is the best part, you know, and it's like having a goal and having something to work towards is like the best part about it all. Because often when you get there, you're like, oh, you know, it's like, but I don't know. I just, want to keep writing and playing music with my friends and just having fun with it and keeping it fun.
I think that's a great way to end it.
Thanks.
Did you want to like obviously album coming out? Prize album coming out later this month. What date is it?
I think it's September 19th. September 19th, the Prize album comes out, and we've got our launch at the Curtain on November 15.
Good that you remembered that.
I think. No,
thank you so much. This is
no, thanks, Sam. It was fun.
I'll put the links. People can check out the Bandcamp, obviously, and hopefully get to some shows.
All right, great.
Thank you again.
Thanks.
Peace.